Hello and welcome to something new for this channel, which is a video breaking down the Oscar nominations. Now, this is not completely candid reactions to the announcement, but I am recording this pretty shortly after the announcement, and I haven't seen too many other people's reactions, so this is pretty authentic to my immediate feelings right after the nominations come out. But also what this is I'm going to be breaking down the predictions that I made that I posted to Twitter uh, just before the nominations. I actually posted them yesterday. So I think, unlike, I'm not actually going to make a Oscar predictions video because I always finish these so late, even though I finish them a bit earlier than I usually do. Um, I decided that I was going to be talking about my predictions and what I got right and what I got wrong and what my justifications were, as well as like where they surprised me. So I want to start actually with the short film categories. In the category of Best Documentary Short, I was predicting Nuisance Bear, Haul Out, Stranger at the Gate, The Elephant Whisperers, and Shut Up and Paint. And three of those got nominated. Shut Up and Paint got left out, and Nuisance Bear got left out. So 3 for 5, better than my usual record, I will say. I don't have a great track record with the short films. I haven't seen any of these. I just went based off of the plot description and based off of how many awards they've already been nominated for and won. So it is surprising that Nuisance Bear got left out. I thought that was supposed to be the frontrunner. But I'm very happy that I called the ones that I did, and also that I did not call the flag makers, which a lot of other people were calling. But yeah, Martha Mitchell Effect and How Do You Measure a Year are the other two nominations, and I don't really have much to say at this point, but it's weird because other people were predicting Flag Makers and other people were predicting 38 at the Garden, and I sort of listened to those predictions and were like, ooh, should I switch? But ultimately, like, none of those happened. So I'm like, okay, just do my own thing and like hope to get somewhere close. And the fact that I got 3 out of 5, I'm gonna take that as a win. Best animated short. Okay, so I got 3 for 5. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. An ostrich told me the world is fake, and I think I believe it. And the Flying Sailor. I knew Boy the Mole, that one would get on because Apple TV has been pushing it hard. I've seen ads for it everywhere. I knew Ostrich would get on because that title stands out and you immediately want to watch it when you listen to that title, and people did enjoy that short. And then The Flying Sailor, I heard it was by people that had previously been nominated in this category, and that was the justification that I needed. More than I want to remember, it seemed like the Bleak thing that would get on, and Save Ralph is had a lot of celebrity voice actors in it, so I thought those two would contend. But no, they went with My Year of Dicks. I loved during the nominations when they announced that one, and just everyone in the crowd laughed at that title. And then what was the other one? Ice Merchants, which apparently has a very interesting animation style. I feel like I should have placed that a bit higher. But it's interesting. New Moon has Coleman Domingo behind it. It's Nice in Here is about police brutality. So those two, I was like, should I have them higher? But ultimately, like, yeah, just go with your gut, and you're not always going to get them right, but it's the shorts. Well, yeah, Ice Merchants and On Your Dicks were the other two nominations. So I look forward to seeing as many of the nominated short films as I can as I cover the Oscar race, which those videos will be going up relatively soon. Best live action short, I only got 2 for 5 here, which is my usual record. An Irish Goodbye and The Red Suitcase. And what were the others? Le Pupille. I know other people were predicting Le Pupille, and I thought that was. I guess I just looked and saw that one was on Disney Plus, and I went, ugh, they're not going to go for like a saccharine Disney short, but apparently they did. And then Night Ride, that was the one I just didn't think would happen at all. I'm like, that feels weird, but it did. Like, it's always the one you're least suspecting. And Ivalu, ooh, let me pull this up. What was the description of Ivalu again? Because I heard that, I'm like, that could happen. Ivalu is the one about searching, the little girl searching for her older sister. And because that one had no nominations for anything prior to this, I sort of discounted it. But I'm like, I could see that happening. Yeah. Okay, also, okay, Warshaw got a lot of nominations but didn't ultimately happen. Uh, The Treatment, I thought could be the lone comedy one, but I guess that one ended up being Night Ride. And then All in Favor, I heard that one got good reviews and it was a one take short, but apparently not enough people like that, and everyone else were ranking it last. So maybe I should have listened to them on this one occasion. Best Documentary Feature. Okay, so I got. Let me actually pull this up here because Wikipedia is not entirely updated. So All That Breathes, All the Beauty and Bloodshed, Navalny. So I went 3 for 5 there. I had Descendant in the Territory over Fire of Love, which was my 6, and House Made of Splinters, which was my 8. I thought that Fire of Love would miss because it was so much archival footage, but it did actually pull through and get the nomination. And yeah, there's no crazy like 14, 15 nomination here. Like this is a little bit more normal. I feel bad that Descendant couldn't make it, but there's nothing too crazy in this category. I'm very happy for Fire of Love, which is the one that I've actually seen, but I'll try to watch more of them. Okay, Best International Feature. Ooh, so I went 4 for 5 here. As you'll see, All Quiet, Close, Argentina 1985, and The Quiet Girl. I called all of them. It is weird that Bardo didn't make it here, but did get in a different category. And then EO. I thought EO was too weird for that branch, but they went for it over Decision to Leave. And this was, I actually heard on the podcast people talking about, is it possible the Decision to Leave misses? Because they don't always go for Korea. Parasite was the first one. And I sort of figured that Parasite was going to open the door for more Korean films to get loved. And I thought people really loved Decision to Leave, but apparently not. So I went 4 for 5 here. And I look forward to seeing more of the ones that I haven't seen here, because there's a lot of great foreign cinema out there. Best Animated Feature. I called the Sea Beast! I called the Sea Beast! This is the one time where my random out there no guts no glory prediction actually paid off. So it's funny, I didn't actually go 5 for 5 in this category because I thought that the live action elements of Marcel the Shell would be enough for people not to vote for it, but apparently not. I guess the fact that it's open to the whole Academy now meant there were enough people really rallying behind Marcel the Shell to get that nomination. So it got on. Wendell and Wild, I thought that Henry Selick, they love him and they love stop motion, and that would be enough to get on, but no, people have problems with that screenplay. And so it's funny, if I had known that Marcel was safe, I would have just put Wendell and Wild in that last slot. But apparently, like, I was trying to think what else could get on, and The Bad Guys has shown up nowhere all season long because DreamWorks has pivoted to focusing on Puss in Boots, and My Father's Dragon not showing up either because that one's seen as a disappointment for Cartoon Saloon after Wolfwalkers. So just nothing else made sense, and the Seabeast got that one lone Annie nomination, which I thought was pretty big, and I was just like, ooh, maybe. It was a completely random. I can't like offer much justification for it, but I am so happy that I actually called it, and that means because we have Pinocchio, Marcel, Puss in Boots, Sea Beast, and Turning Red, this is a really, really great lineup. These are all great movies, and I'm looking forward to talking about them. Okay, now on to some main tech categories. Best sound. Okay, so I got All Quiet, I got Avatar, I got Elvis, I got Top Gun, but the last slot ended up being The Batman, and I had Everything Everywhere. So 4 for 5. It is weird because I feel like Everything Everywhere got on everywhere else, and this is the one place that it missed. Which does not bode well for its chances in Best Editing, because usually there's a correlation between those two categories. But, man, I mean, this tech category was semi-normal. Some of the other ones, not so much. But okay, good for these nominees. Best Original Song. So I went 4 for 5 here. Hold My Hand, Not To Not To, uh, got on Lift Me Up, and Applause, because Diane Warren, never discount Diane Warren, but the one that got left off was Ciao Papa from Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. And the fact that this category was announced after original score meant I was like, yeah, I kind of saw that coming. But they didn't go for the J. Ralph song from Dustin Ash. I thought, oh, he's also Diane Warren-esque, so maybe they'll go for him. But no, they went for This Is a Life because they really, really loved that movie. So good on them. It would have been fun to see Good Afternoon performed at the Oscars, but no, they didn't go for that. And they didn't go for Ciao Papa, which actually translates, that segues pretty nicely into the next category, Best Original Score. So I went 3 for 5. Babylon, Banshees, and Fablemans all got on. Women Talking got left off, as did Pinocchio. Oh my god, I was actually starting to think there was a chance Pinocchio could win this whole thing, because there was no general consensus in original score, but no, it gets left out. And the fact that Pinocchio, it just got the animated feature nomination and nothing else, it really underperformed. What that means is Best Animated Feature is now a level playing field, and Pinocchio doesn't have a massive lead, so it could still be Marcel or even Turning Red or Puss in Boots. Like, that category suddenly got a lot more interesting. And the fact that Women Talking missed here but showed up in other places is really surprising, because I thought that score was amazing. But the other two that did get on were Everything Everywhere, which very, very happy for them, and All Quiet, which showed just the insane support that that movie has. No Woman King. I thought maybe Terrence Blanchard could pull one out, but no, it didn't happen. Best visual effects. Okay, so this is one category where I did sort of go out on a limb with 13 Lives, but that visual effects reel is really impressive. There's a lot of CGI in that movie that you don't realize is CGI, and I thought it would pull off a nomination, but it didn't. Black Panther Wakanda Forever got on instead. They went. I didn't think they were going to go for Marvel. I thought there were a lot of stories about just the bad treatment of the VFX workers at Marvel, and I sort of thought that would. I mean, Marvel didn't get in at BAFTA or VFX Society. I honestly thought that Nope had a pretty good chance just because of the CGI chimp in that movie, but it didn't get on. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say about that one category. I really thought 13 Lives stood a good chance, but it didn't. Congratulations to the nominees that did get on. We have 3 Best Picture nominees in this category, which is kind of crazy. Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Okay, so I believe I also got 4 out of 5 here, right? The Whale, yes. Elvis, yes. Batman, yes. All Quiet, yes. And then the last one I had Black Panther. I did not think Black Panther was going to make it. I thought, I mean, the first one didn't get on. I wasn't sure there was enough new material here, but apparently not. And I thought Blonde was going to show up here. Good that it didn't, although it also showed up somewhere else. Amsterdam, I was bracing myself for. I'm like, oh, that terrible movie's gonna get nominated. I'm actually gonna have to sit through it, but no. And interesting that like Crimes of the Future couldn't place, or Babylon. So it was this category is a little bit weird, but it's gonna come down to The Whale or Elvis for the win. Not sure which. Not really talking about wins right now. Best Costume Design. There's not a whole lot to say here. I went 4 for 5. Elvis, Wakanda Forever, Babylon, and Mrs. Harris all got on. And then the last slot I thought was going to be The Woman King, but it was Everything Everywhere, which was my 6. So, Woman King actually got shut out, which was a little unfortunate for that movie. But I don't really think there's much to say, except I think Elvis is probably going to win this. And in Best Production Design, I think this is the first one where I went 5 for 5. Not the last one though. Elvis, Avatar, Babylon, All Quiet, and The Fablemans. Uh, it's funny because like going into these nominations, I was like Pinocchio, Pinocchio. I'm really, really rooting for Pinocchio. But then once it missed score and song, I was like, it's not happening. Like for some reason, they just don't like that movie. I don't know what happened there. Also, kind of weird that Everything Everywhere, like it did so well everywhere else, but it couldn't get this. But at least this category feels pretty normal in its nominations, which is more than can be said for the next category, Best Cinematography. Okay, I don't know what happened here, but like the Oscar nominations were so normal and not crazy, and then we get to cinematography, and the top three contenders, Top Gun, Fablemans, and Avatar, are all gone. All Quiet and Empire of Light get on, but Bardo, Elvis, and Tar. Like, really? I mean, I don't want to like knock the cinematography in those films, but it feels weird to not put on like the top three contenders. And Top Gun was winning all of the precursors. So, like, what's winning now? I can only assume All Quiet on the Western Front, which I did think had the best cinematography of the year, but I didn't think it had to knock out the top three contenders in order to win. That's like, who you don't mess with All Quiet. It's like it's coming for that cinematography Oscar. But jeez, this was a crazy, crazy category. And it's weird that Batman missed because it had gotten on in a lot of the precursors, and Greg Fraser's work on that film helped him win for Dune. Um, do I have to watch Bardo now? Okay, Bardo is an Academy Award nominee. I after I spend so much time trash talking it. But it's kind of interesting the Tar got on because it's not the most like out. It shows support for that film, and that actually segues really nicely into best film editing. Okay, Everything Everywhere, yes. Top Gun, yes. Elvis, yes. Avatar, no. Babylon, no. So I went 3 for 5. I did correctly predict that Fablemans would get out. I just felt there wasn't a ton of support for that movie, and I thought, you know what? People are saying, oh, but it's got that scene where he's editing, and the editor's branch is going to go for that. It kind of reminded me of the same way people were talking about Mank, and like, oh, it's going to get nominated for screenplay because it's about a screenwriter, and like, you know what? There's just not that much passion for it. So I did predict that snub, although I was not expecting Tar to show up here, or Banshees. The fact that Banshees got in shows that that film really has a lot of strong support. And might actually be in a better position than Fablemans, at least, for winning picture. And could be our upset winner if enough people turn on Everything Everywhere. Best Adapted Screenplay. This is another category where the frontrunner that I had gets left out. So All Quiet is there, Glass Onion is there, Living is there, Women Talking is there, but then Top Gun Maverick? Really? Like, I mean, it's one thing that movie got in picture, but like, I would have accepted director or even actor over screenplay. You really think the writing in that movie is the standout achievement? And the fact that it got on over The Whale, like, not a good sign for Brendan Fraser, as we'll get to later. Wish Pinocchio could have happened, wish She Said could have happened, but, I mean, I went 4 for 5, which is, like, respectable. Sony Pictures Classics, man, I knew that they would make Living happen in this category. But I have actually, I think I do know what's winning because now that I understand how the Best Picture race actually shook out, I think I do understand what's winning. Original Screenplay, this is another category where I went 5 for 5. Everything Everywhere, Banshees, Fablemans, Tar, Triangle of Sadness. Considering the way the Best Picture race shook out, yeah, it makes sense that this is our 5. I really wouldn't expect anything else to get on. Up next, we have Best Supporting Actor. Actually doing things a little bit differently than I've done in my predictions videos and put the women ahead of the men. But anyway, in Supporting Actor, Kwan gets on and the two boys from Banshees get on, but Paul Dano gets left out for Judd Hirsch, which surprised me. I didn't think that performance had the strength to get on. It is essentially 5 minutes of screen time, and to be perfectly honest, I feel like people were talking about David Lynch's one scene in that movie more than Judd Hirsch's one scene. So, once again, Paul Dano remains without an Oscar nomination, which is insane for all the great work he's done over the years. But he doesn't get on, and neither does Brad Pitt. But Eddie Redmayne misses, and Brian Tyree Henry gets on, which I think is really, really cool. I was not a huge fan of that movie, but I do think he was very good in it, and it's glad that this lineup is not all white men, which is what it was looking like it was going to be. So good for Brian Tyree Henry. Best Supporting Actress. This was another category where I went 5 for 5, and I feel very, very happy that I went 5 for 5 because I did just go with the SAG 5, which was probably the safe 5. But hey, I'm glad. I'm glad that it happened this way. It is a little bit weird that Dolly DeLand didn't happen, considering how well the movie did overall. But hey, I'm not going to complain about these 5 getting in, especially not Stephanie Sue. Very, very grateful that she was able to get on. Best Actor. Again, I went 5 for 5, and I got Paul Mescal. Yay for Paul Mescal! I really have to see that movie now. It's one of the few things I haven't seen, but it's nowhere on streaming services, and we haven't gotten a screener for it. But I really want to see that movie, and okay, the top 4 were all obvious, but like, I feel bad for Felix Camera because his movie did so well, and he's so good in it, but the Academy just doesn't like to award foreign performances from actors that they don't recognize. No Tom Cruise, no Hugh Jackman, no Adam Sandler. People were trying to make those happen. But this lineup does make sense to me. I'm glad that Paul Mescal was able to get on. And all first-timers. People didn't think that was going to happen, but all first-time acting nominees in this lineup. Although, the fact that The Whale kind of did poorly, it didn't do as well as we were expecting across the board, did get that supporting actress nomination, but it's missing from some other places, and I worry about Brendan Fraser's chances in this category. And then we have Best Actress. So Cate Blanchett gets on, both of the Michelles, Yeoh and Williams, they get on, and then Ana de Armas gets on, which I was predicting. Really not looking forward to watching that movie. I've been putting it off for a long time. From what I understand, she is not the problem in the film. But okay, good for Ana de Armas, I guess. But then, bad for Danielle Deadwyler. Oh my god, I cannot understand how she got left out because she's so good in that movie, and the fact that she missed for Andrea Riseborough of all people, that crazy last minute campaign actually worked, because that thing, I'm sure, if you in case you weren't paying attention, there was this sudden surge for her, literally like that started as voting was already happening, and the people on the podcast I was listening to were like, don't actually take that seriously. It's not actually going to happen. But it did. So this is going to change the way Oscar campaigns work forever. If you can just start campaigning at the very last second and then get nominated. Like, what does this mean for the future of campaigning? Viola Davis, I actually predicted was going to get left off. So I think the movie was just slipping, and I just felt like, okay, this is the kind of performance that gets on everywhere but still misses Oscar. Real shame about Deadwyler, though. Like, what drives me crazy is that people like, I'm not going to watch a movie about a black woman who loses her son because that's too uncomfortable, but I will watch an NC-17 film that's heavily criticized for its use of graphic rape sequences. Like, really? That I don't like that. I really don't like that. Best Director. Now, this one is just weird. So, Daniels gets on, Spielberg gets on, McDonough gets on, Todd Field gets on, but then the last slot, which should go to Edward Berger, he misses. Even though that movie did so well everywhere else, somehow they don't recognize the director. And I don't know how that happened, especially because the person they did go for was not James Cameron or Baz Luhrmann or Joseph Kosinski. It was Ruben Östlund. I guess the foreign branch of the directors really did want to go for him, even though like it's not a foreign language film. It's so weird because Berger is right there, and he somehow pulled that movie off. I guess just because he's not as much of a name as Ruben Östlund is, but it is still weird. Okay, the misses for Cameron, Lerman, and Kaczynski, I do make a weird sort of sense. I think just because the movies, they're still obviously in Best Picture, but we're kind of it feels weird. It feels weird. And also, as has been pointed out, it does kind of suck that there are no female directors represented here. I think we could all kind of tell that it was going that way. But seeing how, spoiler alert, there is a female directed film in Best Picture, it does kind of suck that there are no women here. And yeah, I and I think there were some really strong efforts by female directors, and it doesn't have to feel like tokenism, but I don't know. At any rate, I went 4 for 5. And that brings me to Best Picture, the category where I went 8 for 10. The top 8 I all got. Everything Everywhere, Banshees, Fablemans, Elvis, Top Gun, Avatar, Tar, and All Quiet. But Babylon missed, and The Whale missed. And according to this, Babylon got 3 nominations, as did The Whale. So an underperformance for Babylon, I'd say. It just got production design, costume design, and score. So did not do very well at all. And The Whale got actor, supporting actress, and makeup. Which, again, really worried for how that's going to do an actor, because Elvis has 8 nominations and Banshees has 9. Ugh. Brendan Fraser's really going to have to pull one out of there. So anyway, the other 2 movies that did get on were Triangle of Sadness, which was my 11, and then Women Talking, which was my 17. I thought that passion for that movie had died down. I just thought that people just weren't in love with it, and it had been missing in so many key places, but somehow it shows up here, but not in original score, which is really weird. And also, Triangle of Sadness shows up here and director and screenplay, but misses for Dolly de Leon. It's somehow weird how love for a film can show up in one category but not in another, in a way that's really surprising. Top Gun Maverick misses in cinematography but gets screenplay? Really? But I will say, Everything Everywhere is our nomination leader at 11. So I do worry if this movie gets branded the new frontrunner, if that opens the floodgates for the backlash. But the fact that Banshees got in editing and Fablemans didn't, I think if something other than Everything Everywhere wins Best Picture, it's going to be Banshees. But we'll have to wait and see what happens at SAG and at BAFTA. And eventually, I'm going to get back to doing Oscar prediction videos. I'm going to wait till there's about 23 days till the Oscars, and then I'm going to do one a day leading up to the ceremony. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you did very well in your predictions. And one very quick thing I want to say, I've decided I'm going to put the From Pixels to Pictures series on hold for a little while. I loved doing those, but I don't know. I went into such a weird... With Silent Hill, which was the next one up, I had so many different things I wanted to say about that one, and I couldn't find like the right way I wanted to do it justice. But now, okay, so much of that show is like the search for the correct way to do a video game adaptation, and now that we have HBO's The Last of Us, like that's the correct way. And so I kind of feels like the show feels a little bit redundant now, but I whether or not I continue it, we'll see. It's not exactly something that had a ton of online support, and I am actually planning on starting a new project in 2023 that I'll get into more detail about later. But for now, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you when I see you.